Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a 3-photo layout using the Scrap 5 challenge items that you're looking at right now on the screen. And this would be one of the items, which would be to use this sketch. This sketch is by Rochelle Spears. Really beautiful sketch, and I am going to leave it popped up in the left hand corner of the screen so you can follow along with the sketch as I go about my process here. Now, I thought I was recording and I was not, so I'm going to catch you up right now on what I already did, which would be to remove an inch off 2 sides of my pattern paper. I also gutted my white cardstock, used some of that to map my photo. And I also did another item on the list, which would be to tear paper, torn paper. And you can see I tore the bottom part of my layout there. I also used the Tim Holtz Distress tool to go ahead and rough up the other 3 sides of my background paper. And that had it, it made it blend in a lot better with that torn edge. So another item on the list would be to use a stencil. I am using it together with some molding paste today, and I will go ahead and link all of these items I used down in my description box. I will also link everyone participating today on the Scrap 5 Challenge Hop down in the description box as well. So I'm using this Vicki Boutin stencil here. There are 3 different designs on here with larger and smaller circles. I'm using the same design and the large and the small circle. It does add a really nice detail, but it is very subtle. And you can see I'm placing it exactly where the splatters are on the sketch. I'm using this the texture paste with the stencil instead of the splatters. Now, once I add this to the top right and bottom left, I do use my heat tool and go ahead and help it dry. Here I'm going to add my photos on my page. I have a 4x6 there, and you can see all of them have a very thin white border around them. And I'm using my T-square ruler just to help them line up nice and straight. And then I'll work on that banner element below the photos. Now, I had a scrap piece of paper, that polka dot paper. It is black and white, and it was not long enough to go all the way across my photos like I wanted it to. So I went ahead and cut some strips, and I created the banner. I just cut the banners on both ends there. I went ahead and took another strip here, and I'm distressing all of these also like I did my pattern paper, my diagonal stripe pattern paper before. And I will connect both sides of these banners using that strip in the center. Now, because this is a polka dot design on this pattern paper, it's really easy to connect them without even noticing the seam where it connects. I am also going to be adding embellishments so it sort of disguise any seams that you might see at all. Now, there is a small gap you'll notice once I connect these pieces, but once you place them under my photo, once you slide them under the photo, you do not notice that gap at all. So now I pulled in another item from the list, which would be to use a ribbon, and I'm tying it right now, and it's not where it's gonna remain. I just went ahead and added it to the layout, and it is a black and white gingham ribbon I've had in my stash forever. And it's just gonna sit there until I finally find exactly where it needs to be. But first up, I am using some Vicki Boutin word phrases here, puffy word phrases, stickers, and I'm gonna add my title on the bottom. It says, "Yes, you can." Now that is just part of my title. I do put the other part in just a little bit. Here I pulled in some ephemera pieces from Color Study by Vicki Boutin. And we have some circles here that I added in below that banner. I cut it across because you're not going to see the part that's sticking under, so I just will save that for another project. And I also added in the other part of my title on the top left that says, I can do all things. And of course, the bottom says, yes, you can. So here I'm adding in some foam adhesive behind that circular element before adding it to the top left of that photo. I added directly on the top. So of course you can see the words, and it filled up some of the empty space on that photo there. And now I'm gonna go ahead and adhere my ribbon to the background because I finally found exactly where it needs to be. I also trimmed the ends off just a tiny bit. I'm using the art glitter glue, which will definitely keep it in place. Then I'll flip it over, use some washi tape that I don't use on projects, and I'm gonna go ahead and use that to adhere the ends to the back. Now, the only item left on the list to use would be a throwback item, such as a decor scissors or another item you haven't used in years but still own. I cannot remember. This might be called a Crop-A-Dile. I think it's called a Crop-A-Dile, but I don't remember for sure what it's called. But it's that that tool you see on the right side of the screen that you use to set eyelets on your projects. And I am punching the holes right now, and it actually punched through the ribbon as well. I picked out some flower eyelets from my stash. I've had this maybe since the 90s, and I am going to use this tool right now to go ahead and add those to both sides of the ribbon. And I was having fun with it. I decided, why not add another one? And I'm going to flip my layout around and add one to the top right corner as well. And it actually inspired me, and it's helping me want to use more of these eyelets. I forgot all of the pretty ones that I had. I don't have just regular circle ones. I have some, but I also have some shapes such as hearts, these flowers. I have stars as well. So I'm really hoping to pull those out and start adding them to my projects. So I'm loving how that look. And I am going to pull in this arrow here on the bottom part next to my title. It has a heart, so I also grabbed 2 more hearts to add to that cluster to the top left. And you can see I have my little bin there to the left. I keep my little bits and pieces leftovers in that bin and try to add them in as much as I can to my projects to get them used up. And once it's on my desk in that bin, it's right there ready to use. Now I'm going to add in some word phrases. These might be from a crate paper, an older crate paper collection. And I'm going to add some splatters. Now you can see on the sketch, there's splatters where I added my texture paste. And I decided to add my black splatters where my clusters are, and very, very lightly. And I am using some acrylic ink for these splatters. So I noticed my little circle element on the bottom right had a little bit of that indigo blue on there, and I wasn't getting that in my other clusters. So I pulled out this ephemera piece from the Vicki Boutin Color Study once again. And I'm just going to cut it apart just to add little hints of that color where I have my clusters on my layout. And I did add one in before, but it was purple, not the indigo blue like I wanted. So you can see I tucked a piece of that card in next to my title on the top and also to the bottom of that photo. And I am also going to add in another word phrase to the top of that photo. Here we have a close-up look, and I also added in some rhinestones, some really, really tiny rhinestones you might be able to see now and in the close-up photos as well. Don't forget, check out my description box. Lots of information there on all of the items I use, and everyone participating, go on over, see how they use all of these items on their layouts today and be inspired. If you decide to participate and do this challenge yourself, be sure to tag us on Instagram or comment on any of our videos. Let us know where we can find your layouts. I want to thank you all for watching today, and until my next video, bye.